Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 64 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit, and where I get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here today. It is Saturday, May the 15th, 2021, and it's a gorgeous late spring, early summer kind of day. It's beautiful out today. So beautiful out. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for coming by and checking me out. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back for another week to see what I've been up to since I last talked to you a week ago. So I'll talk about any life kind of things at the end. There's not really too much to chat about, but I want to start out. Today I have 3 projects to show you. I've got a couple small things as part of one project that is part of a finished object. I've made progress on a second work in progress I've had going for some time, and I've got a new cast on. So without further ado, we'll take a look at these little guys. So these are my Mitten Garland Advent Calendar project. It's a series of patterns by Kathy Lewinsky. I am using 2.25 millimeter needles and Knit Picks palette yarn for these. And what they are is a series of 24 little miniature mittens that you'll use to hang up come the Advent season in the winter. So when I last saw you a week ago, I had about this much of mitten number 9 complete. So I finished up mitten number 9. I was behind schedule on this one. I got behind working on Sock Madness socks. So I got caught up and finished mitten number 9. And I also started and finished mitten number 10. This was actually fairly quick and simple design to do. It's just a simple repeat. Once you've done the little cuff portion, the rest of it was just a simple repeat. Each row, everything just shifted over a little bit. So this one was really quite quick and easy to do. And this now takes me to being ahead of schedule on these. And these ones, I should be finishing them, if I was still on proper schedule, I should have been finishing these on Thursday coming up. So I don't have to worry about getting behind as much because I'll be focusing pretty much entirely on Sock Madness for the remainder of this week. So there we go. Mittens number 9 and 10. And that puts me at roughly just a drop over 40% done the whole set of 24 little mittens. Just drinking water this afternoon. So 2 more completed. I probably won't be touching these again until next Friday when it's time to start mitten number 11. So there's these little guys. The other work in progress that I've been able to spend a bit of time working on this week is my Damejakka Loppa sweater. And I've managed to get a good bit more done on the sleeve. Where the red marker is, that's where it was when I last showed it to you. So I've added several inches onto it. I've still got a ways to go. I think I still have 4, 6, 8, another 7, I think, more decreasing rounds to do, and then it'll be time to get going into the little bit of color work at the end of the sleeve. So this is Damejakka Loppa. It's a pattern by Pinagiri, and I've been working on this one for a little while now. I forget exactly when it was that I cast it on. It's been on the needles for a little while now. I am using 3mm and 2.75. Sorry, I'm just reading my notes on here. Yeah, 3.75 or 2.75mm needles for the cuffs and the ribbing at the sleeves and the waistband, and 3mm needles for the rest of the body. I'm using whole super soft yarn in a variety of colors. The two main colors I'm using right now are silver gray and cobalt, are the gray and blue colors that I'm using right now. So I've got a nice little bit of progress done on those this week. So I'm happy with what I've accomplished with those. So I spent the first part of the week since I talked to you last working on the little mini mittens. Once I had finished those, I switched over and started working on the sleeve for Damejakka Loppa until last night. Yeah, yesterday afternoon that Sock Madness 15 round 4, the pattern came out. The specs came out Thursday evening. Yeah, Thursday evening, about I think it was 7 or 7:30 in the evening, Eastern US time. And the pattern itself came out on Friday, I think about 1:30 in the afternoon, again, Eastern US time. And it's a really pretty pattern. It is, right now, I feel like I'm wrestling with a plate of spaghetti. And you'll see in just a second, the pattern is called Little Etude, and it's by Kawa Coffee. Why can I not pronounce? I don't think I've been able to properly pronounce anything yet for Sock Madness this year. Seriously. I think it's Kawa Coffee, and the pattern name is Little Etude. And it's a really pretty design. It'll continue with a little diamond shape with in my case, with the greens going down and then blue diamonds. But I feel like I'm wrestling with a bowl of spaghetti. Oh, holy moly. It's like a wrestling match. When I was doing the first couple rounds on the cuff, I am convinced that I was sitting there concentrating, like biting my tongue or like chewing on my lip, where I was concentrating so hard on hanging on to 1.5 billion strands of yarn, or so it feels. So the pattern calls for a main color and at minimum 2 contrasting colors. We can use as many contrasting colors as we want. We can do each of the stripes and each of the diamonds, each of the parts of the diamonds can be a different color. So for each sock, we have 8 of the green and 8 strands of the blue. So you're working with 17 pieces of yarn at one time. Every row, once you get past the cuff, every row you are knitting with 17 rounds. It was recommended that we use a straight knitting needle or a skewer. I tried using a skewer. My skewers, I guess, are cheap and rough, and I found that they were snagging the yarn when I tried to catch the first little bobbin or first little butterfly of my first contrast color. So I flung that across the room and pulled out a pair or set of, you can see in that container right here, I have a whole bunch of straight needles. These are ones that I bought years ago when I was first starting to knit. Some of them are probably from my grandmother. Some of them are ones that I bought myself. Once I got into circular needles, I've not turned back. I just have them for sentimental reasons only. I'm not getting rid of them. So I have 8 of the colors on one and the other 8 on the other. So half of them are on the front half of the sock, half of them are on the back half of the sock. When I was working on the cuff, I had all 8 of them on one needle, and I found it got more tanglier. It was a lot harder to control. And then I thought, when I start to double the number of little butterflies on there, I thought it's gonna more than double my trouble, basically. So I decided to just use half of the little bobbins on one needle, half on the other one. And then that way it keeps it a little bit under control. It's a little bit awkward when I'm trying to knit with this if I'm not sitting at the table with them. If I'm sitting at the table, then they happily just lay on the table and I can happily knit. But I was trying to work on this last night when I was watching TV, and these guys were like kind of swinging and dangling around. So they were kind of bugging me. But I'm getting settled into a rhythm now, so it's not too bad. There will be, however, a bazillion ends to tuck in later. There will be 17 ends at the cuff. There will be a bunch at the heel where we quit using half of the colors coming down the bottom of the foot. And then at the toe, there's going to be a bunch more ends to tuck in. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do them as the designer recommends, to go partway down the leg and then tuck in the first bunch. Then after you've gone down the foot a little ways, tuck in the heel stitches, and then a little bit once you get to the toe, then you only have those to tuck in. For the sake of conserving time, I might torture myself and just leave it right to the end and tuck in all the tails, because to submit the final pictures and the final submission for your entry, you do not have to have the tails tucked in yet. But the thought of tucking in a boatload of tails all at once is a little bit daunting. Even though I don't mind, in general, I don't mind tucking in tails. There might be something wrong with me because I don't mind doing that, but we shall see. So there we have it. It's a cute design. I am really getting into a rhythm. They are the vertical intarsia, or vertical stripes. So each stripe has its own color. So you're not carrying the yarns along all the way around. Each yarn is you just pick up one strand each time you work that specific stitch. I pick up this yarn. So there we have it. My little etude socks. So we shall see how I fare in this round of Sock Madness. This is round 4, and in this round, the fastest 20 people on each team will advance to round 5. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll make it. I once I finish taping this and once I finish doing the editing, I'm free and easy to keep knitting the rest of the evening. I have nothing else planned for this evening other than watching some TV with the hubby. We're probably just gonna have a sandwich and soup for supper. We had a big lunch, so we're probably just gonna have a quick, easy, light supper, and I'll just happily knit like a little fiend as much as I can, and hope that I make it into round 5. If I don't, I don't. It's not the end of the world. But these might be a little bit quicker knit for a lot of people to do. Once you, or at least I'm finding once I'm getting into the rhythm, they're not that, sorry, motorcycle. They're not that complicated to knit. It's just basically wrestling with the plate of spaghetti is what it feels like. And usually I do them 2 at a time in tandem. Like I'll do the cuff on one, then the cuff on the second. So far I'm only doing the first sock. When I get to the heel, I might change my mind and I might start the second sock at that point. And then that way I will be done. Once I do the second sock down the leg, I will be done with the extra number of little butterflies of yarn, the little bobbins of yarn. So they're a fun knit. I'm enjoying them. They're not as time consuming as the last round were. And oh, I didn't tell you, I'm using 2.25 millimeter needles, which is my sock knitting go-to needles. I'm using as the main color, I'm just using a bare yarn. And for the 2 contrast colors, if the blue looks familiar, that was the blue of the blue and orange that I used on the last pair of socks. The green are from the green are hand-dyed yarn, my own hand-dyed yarn from the qualifying round socks. The blue is from the round 3 socks, one of the 2 colors from round 3. And those are the blue and green are 2 colors that I dyed myself. Sorry, I'm getting a tickle in my throat and a fluff on my nose. So not an awful lot is new with me. The semester is done. Grad was last week. I just had a couple emails that I dealt with over the early part of the week. And I had a little mini conference workshop, work related on Wednesday and Thursday. It ran all day Wednesday, not all day, from 8 till 2:30, and then on Thursday it ran from 8:30 till noon. So again, I didn't have to take notes. I didn't have to participate really any which way. So I was able to, on Wednesday I was working on mitten number 10, and then I switched over. Once that was done, I switched over and started working on my sleeve on Damejakka Loppa. So it was fun that I was able to knit quite a bit through working on those. I'm switching over and starting to get into research mode for work, where starting on Monday, I'm going to be spending more of my spare time working on getting academic papers, getting the editing done on papers I've already written in the past, and getting them sent off for consideration for publication, and working on writing some other ones. I also have a deadline on Monday, end of the workday, to get a letter of intent for a grant submission that I want to get sent away to see if I can perhaps get a grant to work on some research that a colleague and I have been getting started fairly recently. So hopefully that's successful and that we can get some money to do some research. We can buy some data, things like that. So we shall see. Only other news around here is earlier this afternoon, the second shot. So that's my second COVID vaccine shot. My husband and I went earlier this afternoon. First we went out for lunch, and then we went over to the pharmacy and got our second dose. So here's hoping that neither of us have any side effects from the second shot. The first one, neither one of us had any side effects. We were both, there was nothing. Even the injection site didn't even hurt. So for it's nothing, but it's only been like 2.5 hours, so it's not been long. So I'm hoping that both of us come through unscathed from the second one and we don't have any symptoms. I've heard of some people that after the second shot they were feeling a little bit fatigued, a little bit headachy, some chills, a little bit achy. Hopefully we don't have that at all and that we're fine. I'm kind of hoping I have no side effects whatsoever because I want to keep knitting all afternoon and evening, and I want to keep knitting as much as I can tomorrow in my spare time. So I don't have time to be feeling run down and dealing with side effects of a vaccine. So I think that's about it. Just a little bit shorter episode today. And I'm anxious to get back to wrestling with my spaghetti and get the editing done and get this video up. I do have to get a few things organized. I still need to get the prize mailed out for my little giveaway from a couple weeks ago. I've been bad about that. I will get that. I have not forgotten about that. I will be getting that out in the mail in the next few days, Monday or Tuesday next week. So otherwise, I think that's about it. I think I'll let you guys go, and I will see you guys again in a week. Hopefully I have a pair of completed socks to show you next week. Cross your fingers and see what happens. Alrighty, take care everyone, and I will see you guys again in a week. Bye.